It's me, Meredith. I haven't been on here in a little while because of my vacation and recovery and the 4th of July, but I'm back. And in the last few days, I've had a lot of people come into my Successful Sleep group unaware that we had a special focus in our group for creating sleep habits for children and babies. We're very focused on gentle methods. In my work, I use gentle methods about 99% of the time, meaning there's no crying. Sometimes we have a little bit of crying when a older toddler is protesting, but we always keep it really, really short, and that's more like, hey, I don't like this, I'm mad, and we can't let toddlers run our lives or our homes. But anyways, I do everything I can in my programs to make sure that we build security in children and we create the right setting and atmosphere for kids to just feel really peaceful and content, and parents respond to their kids' needs, and so there's no crying. It's pretty cool. So I have my own methods that I use in my program, and those are strictly for my program because they need guidance and customizing. They're my babies. I have 4 of them. But I also, just everything that we do, all of the habits that we create, all of the habits we're trying to change or break or improve, I have gentle methods, a long list of them, and a lot of people enjoy those methods and suggestions by being in my Successful Sleep group. So that's one way to find me and to learn more about me and what I teach, is joining that group here on Facebook. So the question of the week has been, why do I teach gentle methods? Why do I promote them? Am I hypersensitive about crying? Am I extreme in my views? No. I have 5 kids. I come from childcare. I was a nanny. I took care of kids since I was old enough to, so I have 30 years of childcare experience, and I had my own daycare for many years. So I have been around kids of all ages and all personality types, and I know what is normal and what is to be expected. And I had to help a lot of little kids, a lot of babies sleep well, and I had a knack at it. I taught little kids how to sleep well naturally. I just kind of instinctively knew what to do. After my first child gave me a lot of trouble, and it was a big struggle, and so I know what moms go through. And then I did a little bit of research and just experimented with my own children and figured out some really effective ways to teach them, and was able to continue practicing for like 15 years. So I've been doing this sleep help for 17 years now. I've been doing it full-time for 2 years, and I've helped over 200, I haven't counted in a while, over 200 babies and children and their parents all learn to sleep well permanently. It's really, really exciting. One of the things that I love most in my program is that I offer an online course, which means that my clients get to just go be on this website and just do it at their own pace and have clear directions and worksheets and videos, but then they get to talk to me one-on-one each week for several weeks. So it's a wonderful, effective program. Okay, so back to the gentle methods. Why do I use gentle methods? Like I said, I'm used to crying. I'm used to kids crying. I know what's normal. I know what's to be expected. But because I was taking care of other people's children when I was learning my methods and experimenting, of course I was going to be super hyper gentle, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't sit there and use crying methods. It was really natural for me to figure out ways to just teach kids to learn how to fall asleep using nature, and also just being very careful and gradual and sensitive. So that was my foundation. And then as I started working full-time in this field, still using my own methods and my own background, I found more and more people coming to me saying, my child is very sensitive, my child is very attached, my child is very intense, my child does not handle crying, my child can get really, really upset after just a couple minutes of crying, some kids vomit. But I just started being more and more aware of the different personality types out there who absolutely will not learn from crying methods. And that is probably my #1 reason for using gentle methods. If my gentle methods work on these high needs, sensitive, very attached babies, then they're going to work on the even more easygoing, textbook, angelic type personalities. And that just means that they're more predictable and easygoing and laid back. So, like I said, they're the ones who are just going to get the results quicker, and the ones that are a little bit tougher and more challenging take longer to learn. But we use gentle methods for all, and it works really well. I also learned over the years that the way to build security in kiddos is to meet their needs. And there's been studies done that show children whose needs are met learn security first. And that's pretty awesome. What parent does not want their child to be secure and feel secure and just feel content in their home and with their parents? So my goal in working with people is to take their baby to the next level, or their child, to be secure by themselves. So that's a really big focus that I have, and it all starts with meeting needs, which means that when they're sick, or they're teething, or they're going through a mental leap, or they're just really fussy, we respond to their needs at night. I have a system that helps me, I guess in a way, just teach kids to naturally sleep longer and longer on their own. And then when they learn how to fall asleep on their own using my gentle methods, that takes care of putting themselves back to sleep and just breaks some of those habits. But I also have really gentle, stress-free ways of breaking like habit wakings without like turning the world upside down or making parents stay up all night or having kids cry. It's just really exciting that I've figured out gentle, kind ways of doing these things, because they're really important and life-changing. If you're a parent with a child who keeps you up at night, it's life-changing to be able to sleep all night. So it's all very exciting. So the next reason is that a lot of people understand that when they use crying methods, they have to repeat them. I've gone onto parent support groups for sleep and seen parents just blatantly ask, how many times did you have to use crying it out? How many times did you do this? And I think that's so sad, because what I see in my work is doing things gradually, gently, means actually teaching the babies habits that are permanent. They might go through leaps and teething and have disruptions and bad nights, but when they're over, the babies just go right back into their permanent habits. It's beautiful. I also teach my clients what not to do to create new habits, because yes, of course, we can unteach things, but I also just seem to, we have a system where my clients aren't ultra sensitive and worried about their kids starting those new habits, because what child doesn't have those sleep disruptions and times when they're really needy and mom and dads have to respond and fuss over them a lot more, and the kids just go back to their good habits. Let's see. Also, so what I was saying is, this is a way of avoiding that sort of a situation, which is often heartbreaking to parents to have to repeat the crying methods. The next thing I already kind of touched on is it's stress-free to do gentle. I have so many mothers come to me just saying, I can't handle the crying. I can't handle the thought of letting my baby cry, whether they're 4 weeks old or sometimes 1, sometimes 2, 3, 4. Parents just can't handle it, and it breaks their hearts. So I think it's important to listen to that feeling in your heart, that this is what you need too. It's not just a child. But I've also seen kids need the less stress situation too. I've had parents come to me and say when they tried crying methods that their child was scared of their bed, was refusing to go to bed or go to sleep in their room, and was way more clingy. I've seen some babies get really nervous, and I'm sure that can be overcome, but sometimes it takes a while. And so this is just, you get to avoid that sort of thing when you use gentle methods. And then the last reason is that I think it's super, super important to be sensitive to children's needs and their unique reactions. So this is a really important thing to me. Doctors and people who have their own, maybe it's a mother running a sleep support group or just someone doing it casually. A lot of times I'll see and hear people saying, oh, crying it out works on every baby. This it worked on my kid, it'll work on your kid. Just do this, just do that. But what I'd like to see changed with that, number one, I'd really like to see gentle methods just kind of take over and erase the crying methods, because they work. But I also wish that doctors at least would screen personality types, because, I told you all those adverse reactions that can happen from crying methods. A lot of times I can predict it. If a baby's intense, we can ask questions and find that out. if a baby is really sensitive. That's easy to find out. If a baby's super attached to mom, you could probably tell that. And it makes sense. This baby has been co-sleeping for months. If you try to put that baby in a crib and walk away, it's going to be traumatizing. Also, there's some children who can only have their emotions regulated by their parents' touch, by mom holding them. A lot of times that's why babies comfort feed, because that is the way that they get calmed and comforted, or that's the only way they know how to sleep. So it's just really important to know those situations specifically. Do not do crying methods, because the baby is not going to learn. The baby's going to really freak out. So, like I said, gentle methods are awesome. I love them. I guess maybe a little more background. When do I use gentle methods? What is different about my methods? So I think I'm gentle on parents too. That's good to know. Like I said, I don't want things to be more stressful for mom who's already sleep deprived and exhausted and slaving away over naps and slaving away during the night with the wakings. So I think that it's very stressful to go through all of that and then have to use crying when you try to get your baby to sleep. That's too tiring. It's just too much on a mom. So that's another way I'm gentle with parents in my work and in my programs. I also try to change things gradually. So when we're changing, say a baby is nursing through the night, when I've worked with someone for a while and we know this is a habit wake time and it's not going away through the natural methods that we're using, then we will try and wean a baby off the one feeding, like an ounce every 2 or 3 days, or half an ounce, or that might be just a minute or two per side every few days. That way I see the calories adjust. They start to eat better during the day, a little bit at a time, and the baby doesn't just get that bottle taken away or the breastfeeding taken away cold turkey. I don't know about you, but I've seen lots of little kids just freak out when there's a big change. So I like to change things really gradually to ease the baby into new things, and they react so much better to that. So we just try to change things up every 2 or 3 days, since habits are created in 3 or 4 days. Another way that I'm gentle, like I said, we do everything that we can for the first 2 or 3 weeks to really help babies get acclimated. One thing that I teach a lot in my supportive successful sleep group is to do crib playtime. I think that it makes a huge difference for a baby to be in their crib playing a lot, whether that's a pack and play or bassinet, and it doesn't matter what age. Sometimes you have to be really patient and creative and make it fun. Sometimes we start out in the hallway and we work our way into the bedroom. Sometimes we were playing in the bedroom, we work our way into the crib just by putting toys in there. But it's just a really helpful thing to help kids not wake up distressed and upset, to feel more comfortable in their bed. So, like I said, I have a period of time for the first few weeks when I do things like that, where I try to help the baby just feel really comfortable in their room and not feel freaked out. We teach the baby to feel more and more trust and security when mom and dad walk out of the room. So there's some exercises and activities that go along that way. And then that way, when we're starting my gentle sleep methods, which, like I said, we're meeting kids' needs, we're responding to them. If they need to be picked up and held, then we do so, because that's the way they're comforted. It's just all about really reacting according to what your child needs, and not what a book says or what an expert says that all kids should fit into, because there's no such thing as babies fitting into a mold, or children, or anything. So I think that pretty much covers it. I can't think of any other way that I'm gentle. It's just pretty much everything, and it's really important to me. I'm passionate about it. I think it's really, really important to meet kids' needs and to fill their lives with security and peace, and just really promote their well-being. And I do see these kids turn out to be very confident and acting like they feel very secure when they're alone, and that's priceless. I've had a mother say to me once that when she watched her child put himself to sleep peacefully, this is a child who used to have tantrums and cry and just go out of his mind at 2 years old. When she used to watch him fall asleep peacefully on his own, it filled her eyes with tears and her heart with so much joy and love for her child. She was so proud of him, and it made her feel more love for him. And I thought that was one of the best compliments I've ever had. So please join my Successful Sleep group if you're not already a part of it. And you can go to my website, sweetslumbertime.com, to learn more. I offer free calls to tell people more about my services and what they include and all the details. So you can do that for free anytime, and you'll find a link below the video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me tonight.